everyone, I'm Chelsea Butler with KBB Magazine, and on today's From the Tap podcast, I am welcoming Green Forest Cabinetry CEO John Morgan and his colleague Emily McCullum, who is Green Forest Director of Market and Business Development. Thank you both for joining me today and welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It's our honor to be here.
Awesome. So today we will be discussing how to cultivate winning teams for your business. And to get us started, John, can you give us a little bit of background on your experience in this area?
Sure. I don't know if it wasn't by design. I think it's like a lot of good things in life. You run into them by luck, and somewhere along the line early in my career, I lucked into some situations where I recognized how important it is to surround yourself with awesome people. I know there's an adage out there that you're like the average of your 4 or 5 closest friends or something like that when you look at it in life. Well, for some reason early in my career, I realized that in business and started surrounding myself with people that I thought were smarter than me and better than me. And then when I moved into some different opportunities, like I worked for years with 2020 Spacers, 2020 Technology. A lot of people know them like that. And you go through multiple transitions, right? With new ownership, new expectations, and so forth. There was always a demand to kind of step up and have change in your business. And for me, I early on developed the philosophy that I would rather be the change agent than to have change happen to me. So I learned very early on that if you surround yourself with really good people and you start building those teams, you can actually direct that change and start looking forward instead of focusing on today or backwards. And over the years, I had the opportunity, whether it was transitions from going public to going private, or being purchased by VC firms, or even later on in my career when I was fortunate enough to be able to serve with NKBA at the national level. I was serving there right when the economy was collapsing and change is sort of forced on you. You very quickly learn that your success for today, tomorrow, and going forward is really focused on having the right people around you, because none of us can do it by ourselves. It's kind of like, Super Bowl is about to come up. It's kind of like a football team. You could be the best player in the world, but if you don't have other great players around you, you just play the season and go home. You all want to get to the Super Bowl, so you have to have great people in every role in your business.
Okay, so Emily, tell us a little bit about when you joined the team at Green Forest and what you've been involved in.
Okay, so actually I joined on about the same time that John Morgan probably stepped in and started taking over a little bit. But I was very, very fortunate to be able to become a part of something so changing and something so great. And I was able to watch and eventually, very quickly, actually become a part of that change. And I was able to contribute and whatnot. Now we're looking at new people to transform the company.
We've actually, when Emily joined us, we had just taken over Green Forest Cabinetry, which was being run a little bit differently. And we were able to come in there and take a culture that was struggling and build a new culture to the one today, which I can't wait for everybody to see in the future events. And then, Em joined us, and today we're actually taking over other companies. So we just added a new company. We just purchased Dave's Cabinets, which is a 40-year-old cabinet company, about 50 employees. We have another company we're about to roll into now. And you take people like Emily, who are young millennials who joined. Now today, they're actually leading the change in these new companies.
Yeah, that makes sense. So John, let us know what your definition of an exceptional team is.
It's funny. I actually started to talk a little bit about football. Em and I have been talking football here before we started, so I have football in the brain. But for me, an exceptional team really is about And it's really simple. It's really about each team member making the team member next to them better than they are by themselves. So oftentimes in culture or in business culture, you end up in almost a competitive situation where you're competing against somebody you work with, or you're trying not to let them look better than you or get ahead of you. That's not a good team. Imagine a football team where the tight end doesn't want the quarterback to be the best that they can be. Business can't be like that. You have to feel like you're a team where you look around the table and know not only is your job to make the person next to you better, but their job is to make you better. And everybody is reveling in everybody's success, because if Chelsea, you're on my team and you are really being a superstar now and I'm there, you're raising me up as well. And that's my definition of an exceptional team. It's about everybody making everybody else the best that they can possibly be.
Awesome. Sounds like it would be fun to work at your company. So that said, what's the dynamic like there?
I would tell you, Emily just said it certainly is. I will say we have a lot of fun. And that's, I actually come in extremely early, and a lot of our folks do, and a lot stay late. And a lot of times during the day, we are having a lot of fun. It's not just business. It's really enjoyable. Winning is fun, and you kind of breed that culture. But, to talk a little bit about the culture, every place I've been has been a little bit different. And, at Green Forest, as I started to take over there, you really had a moment in the history of our industry where millennials were really starting to step in and take more, I participate more, I'll just put it that way. And my team that we've built, our team that we built at Green Forest, is a really youthful team. But I like to tell people it's a blend, it's the perfect blend of credibility and youthfulness. Because we do have people like me. I've been in business a long time. Matter of fact, I don't even know if you know this, but I was in the early 2000s, one of the 10 under 35 that KBB named to watch in the industry. But that's 20 years ago, that happened. And, today I look that there's people like me in the company, but we're really surrounded with a youth movement, millennials and Zs, that have brought a different dynamic. And I think what sets us apart is so many companies out there are, I hate to use the word stale, but very stale and static in how they do things. We really seek people that aren't necessarily from the industry and have very different perspectives, and there's a diversity. So when you see the team and the energy, the drive, the adaptability, it really comes from a diversity of, and a lot of people think diversity as being ethnicity or age, or I'm trying to think of some other things. Geography, and so forth. We really have a diversity of ideas. And when you look at the team that we've put together, the blend that we have is a very big youth movement where we have a young lady that's 26 years old, is actually in charge of 60 people in our warehouse. And she's from Michigan, even though we are actually from this area here, which is the Virginia Beach area. We have another young lady, which is from Wisconsin, who runs a big portion. I have two young gentlemen that are, one of them is a 30 under 30 from New Jersey. My director of finance is from Morocco. And you think about the diversity of what we do. And I think that's one of our strengths, because it's really easy for people to find people that are just like them. And then you just bounce the same ideas off of each other. We have a really interesting group of ideas that come together, support each other. And at the end of the day, look and think like our customers. Too often businesses look and think like their boardroom. Our business looks and thinks like our customers. And I think that that's a big differentiator.
Okay, so I think Emily's answering this question. And how do you explain John's knack for recognizing and attracting successful and fun talent?
So that's actually kind of an easy answer. And this, he sees this in everybody somehow, but he really does, when you say a knack, he really does have a knack for seeing things in people, typically even things that they don't see themselves, if you will. And I'm one of those examples. He focuses on what he sees And he tries to bring that out and let, I'm going to speak for myself. He saw what he saw in me, and he kind of encouraged it. And the more he encouraged it, the more confident I became. And then from there, you just grow and grow and grow. And I think that's literally what I see him do with others. Now that I'm on the outside looking in, I see him doing that all the time. And it's amazing. I mean, it really is.
And I would say that I think, like I watch Emily with our new companies, and you see her doing the same thing, or Nathan doing the same thing, or Mark doing the same thing. Because too oftentimes, people interview for a job and they think, I'm going to be an accountant, or I'm going to be this, or I'm going to be that. And I like to look and say, what should you be? Really, where is your skill set? Where's your talent? Like Emily came in to talk to us, and she's crazy creative. And how do you take that and leverage that? And I have other people, like we had a young lady, Deb, who came in and wanted to be in accounting, but she was so organized and she was so great at getting people to follow direction and roles. I'm like, wow, I should put you in charge of operations or something like that. And it's a matter of looking at that and over time, kind of convincing people and training people to leverage the best that they are in themselves and focus that way. Because at the end of the day, if you're good at that, you're going to be happy at that. And you're going to make me and the team better if you're doing something you're happy with.
So I kind of want to piggyback it, almost repeating what he's saying, but literally I've watched him bring people on our team, and maybe they're not in the right position. They're not the right fit for where they are, but they are fabulous. They can be an asset to the team. So he finds he finds the right place for them. And then that's what I'm talking about. That's where they grow. That's where I grew, so it's just, I don't know.
Again, sounds like a really fun place to work with a lot of awesome people. So I'm going to pivot over, John, to asking about what are some of the skills that leaders need today to create these kinds of teams?
It's funny. It's hard. I would tell you that it really starts with that person. A lot of people go out and they say, I need this, or I'm looking for that, but they're not in the right place themselves. And I really believe that leaders who put together great teams should look in a mirror and say, am I the person that I'm trying to create someplace else, right? Am I confident? Am I driven? Am I engaging? Am I going to put the work in that has to be there? Am I willing to disrupt? Those are all things that are really important, because, a lot of people they know what they're looking for, but at the end of the day, they hire it and then they're unwilling to let those people become everything they can be because they're afraid. Like one of the things I say when I hire people, and I joke with like Emily and the other people work with me, I say, you know what? I hope you don't work for me in 3 years. I hope that you are so talented and you're so successful, I can't afford you anymore. Or that somebody else comes along and steals you. I hope that. I really do. I want everybody to outgrow me. And I think that as leaders, too oftentimes people look and they go, I'm going to get somebody and they'll work for me forever and they're going to do it the way I wanted to do it. You have to be open to understand that not everybody's exactly like you. Number one, you have to be able to let people grow into that. I hate to use the word comfort. I don't like the word comfort because I always feel like if you're comfortable, you're not growing, but people have to be confident in what they're doing. And you have to be open enough to encourage them to grow to the point where maybe one day they're my competition, or maybe one day they go someplace else. But that's how you get truly good people, because if they're not people that can grow to that level, then we're always going to run along this path here. And my companies, me, the people around me are never going to reach the growth potential that we have.
Yeah, and it's definitely a competitive market out there. You have to, be open to that kind of thing, I think, where you do hope that your employees, aspire, and then, maybe one day they're not there with you anymore. But that shows a level of just really caring about your employees, which I think is important.
Well, Chelsea, I would tell you that was done for me. There's been plenty of places where I have consulted or worked where somebody has gone out of their way to make sure that I grew to the next level. I'll share one. There was a company I was consulting with a few years ago. They literally paid for me to have a CEO coach for a year. And I joked with the guy when he said, John, I'm going to get you a CEO coach. And I said, okay. I said, but I'm not a CEO. He said, but yeah, but one day you're going to need this. And I'd like to say that I helped you get to that place. So it's been done for me, and it's my responsibility to make sure that I can do it for everybody that I can, because at the end of the day, yeah, I know sometimes words like lucky and privileged are not good words, but I will tell you, I was privileged and I know it. And it's my responsibility to share that with other people so that they can feel and achieve the same opportunities that I've had.
Yeah, that's awesome. What a great example.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the elephant in the room now, the labor shortages. Like, what are some innovative ways to work around that? I think you kind of brought up, possibly training somebody in a different field. What's that all about?
Well, I'll start with the training point. One of the things we do is, I say we're a small company, but now between the two companies, we probably have about 150 employees, and we're about to expand again. But we really believe in cross training. There's so often times, especially in the manufacturing world, where somebody is working on a simple machine, or they're working in a certain department where your demand goes up and down. So people's work slows down or speeds up based on that work. We have worked in a system now where when work slows down in one department, we've cross-trained those people so we can move them to the department that has the high demand. So that, number one, reduces my need for extra labor. But I can tell you, overall, it's really about, we literally interview every day. And we're not always hiring somebody for an exact position. We're just out there and interviewing. And when we see somebody we think has qualities that we can grow, we just hire. And we bring them in, and we bring them into the system, and we try to create the system fun, because people stay with you, and sometimes they take less money because, they just like where they are. And we create a place where people know that they can grow and they can learn things and have opportunity. And I will tell you, like especially with our millennial and our Z workforce, I think that we draw a lot of really talented people from that demographic, because most places they go to work, they end up becoming somebody's assistant. They're going to bring somebody coffee. They're doing the drudge type work for them. When you come to work for us and you see the people in our building, you realize the millennials and Zs are actually empowered. They actually have positions where they can make choices. They have powers. They can affect the business. I have one young man that was working for Lego. And I asked him, I said, why did you leave inventory from Lego to come work for me? And he said, at Lego, I'm just some guy in a little office in New Jersey. He said, working at Green Forest, I actually make decisions that change the course of the company, and I'm important and people listen to me. And I think that helps when people know that they can be important and be listened to, even if this is a stepping stone for a bigger career elsewhere. I think that's what really helps us. It's the fun, it's the opportunity to actually be leaders and to know that you're constantly changing. You're not doing the same job day in and day out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Don't get too comfortable, right?
Yeah, comfortable is scary to me. It really is. I really feel like the moment you become comfortable, everybody else in the world passes you. So I'm afraid of being comfortable.
Yeah.
So the next question, I think you guys might both want to be answering. I'll let you decide who wants to go first, but just interested to hear what are some of the main things that companies need to offer employees today to A, attract them, and B, retain them.
What do you like?
Okay, so I'll start this off, and I'm going to kind of jump back to when I first got on board or was given the opportunity. It's not only could I tell that my two superiors saw something in me, but they gave me a chance. And like I said, I have some crazy ideas, but they put full faith in me to implement them. And the thing is, I think what specifically John noticed the most is that he could tell that I think differently, I work differently, I perceive things differently, I implement things differently. And I think he saw that and said, okay, so this could be of value, basically. And he understood the way I did all those things. And him and Nathan both gave me a chance. They put full faith in me and supported my ideas. Like I said, even the crazy ones. And honestly, that's happiness. I'd spent since I graduated college, I'd spent a really long time trying to find my place, what I was good at. And I knew I was different and I was creative and I had some weird, cool ideas, but no one ever gave me the chance to implement them.
I agree. I think a lot of freedom. A lot of times companies are regimented from the top down, and it doesn't work like that. Everybody learns differently. Everybody processes things differently. And you can't fit everybody into that, what do they say, the square peg into the round hole. You can't do that. It's not the way life is. And fortunately, when I was a little bit younger, not for me personally, but somebody very close to me, I realized were crazy, brilliant. But if you judge them by normal learning skills or time frames and so forth, it didn't seem that way. But when you gave them the tools and the time and the space and the freedom, they had talent that was just unbelievable. And I think as for a company, I know you can't always be like that. There has to be rules. There has to be some structure. But I really feel like recognizing the people that work for you and where their abilities are and the space that they need to be the best that they can be is so important. So I would say for employers to keep people, it's giving people that space where they're empowered, where they know that they're trusted. They know that they have the room to succeed. Don't get me wrong, there's people that fail all the time and they don't stay with us, if you consistently fail. But you have to be given the trust and the empowerment to actually make decisions on your own. And I think that if more companies did that and really cared for their employees in that way and gave the opportunity to growth, people wouldn't want to leave.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Very well said. So you mentioned that the young talent that you already have at your firm attracts even more young talent. What does that mean?
It's crazy. It really is. We have a young lady I mentioned earlier. She's from Michigan. She's 26 years old. I've moved her and she's my operations manager now. And she has 60 some people that work for her. She is so excited about the opportunity and she's absolutely killing it. She is doing a phenomenal job. She's so excited. Literally every other day she calls me and she says, okay, I have a friend who's in a different business who wishes they had the opportunity to be in a leadership role like me, and you've got to interview this person. And so, she does it. Emily joined our team because of somebody else that worked with us that was really enjoyed the way I did things and told Emily, you don't like where you are, you need to go and see John and Nathan. You need to go do this. And it's interesting, especially, and I mentioned before, so many millennials and Zs are entering a workforce where it's almost like a menial job to begin with. And we've all been there. I know when I started out, I wasn't doing the stuff I'm doing right now. But we have this transition now where sometimes that growth is even slower. So when you have these talented people who have grown up in their lifetime with everything happening fast, and then they go to the workforce and everything goes slow. When they hear from one of their other friends how fast they're moving, the things they're doing, how fast they're growing, they want to jump on board too. So I would say that the younger people that work for us truly are magnets for us drawing other people. And just like I started with, your success in life is really based on who you surround yourself with. If I have somebody that I've brought in that's a millennial or a Z and they're phenomenal at what they do, it's a high probability that they hang out with people that are phenomenal too. It just is. If I hire a knucklehead and they bring me something, they're probably bringing me another knucklehead because they hang out with knuckleheads.
Some of them are geniuses.
Yeah, so they're knuckleheads. So I really focus on the people that can really do the job because I know that they have surrounded themselves with really good people too. That's a real opportunity to grow our companies.
It is. And Chelsea, if I could, on top of that, another thing, what we say around Green Forest a lot is that we'll have new people come in and, ask what your position is and whatnot. But the thing that I've got used to saying is that we wear multiple hats here. Like, I don't know how many times I've volunteered to be somewhere completely opposite of where I'm at. I'll be on the floor, boxing or something. I've offered it.
Yeah.
But the
Flexibility.
thing is, right, exactly. But it all goes back to basically what I'm trying to say is, when I was given this opportunity, and I'm just trying to just relay the message to other employers, like, I was given the opportunity to make my own position. I never thought I would be sitting here today. I started off with about 2 projects given to me, and I think I nailed them, obviously. But I never would have imagined that I'm here. I was given the chance to do whatever I want and develop my own future.
Good.
So yeah, that's honestly, as employers, I would give that advice.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome advice. So I want to wrap it up with talking about, we've talked about all sorts of things throughout our discussion on, successfully cultivating and building teams. Do you have like the top 3 things that you want to talk about, just to?
Yeah, well, it's tough to say 3. I really think that everything all comes back to you. Before somebody starts to build a team, you have to build yourself. And I know it's probably not really a quote by Buddha, but you attract to what you feel. I think that's probably one of those internet sensations. It's really not Buddha that said that, but you attract what you feel. And I really believe that if you're going to build a great team, it really does start with you, and it starts with your openness. You have to be open to opportunities, open to new ideas, open to letting people succeed. And you have to be the one who sets the trend, right? You have to be the one that sets the bar. If you want everybody to work hard, you better work hard. You want everybody to be innovative and bring great ideas. You better be innovative and bring great ideas. You want everybody to listen and participate and help each other. You as a leader better listen, help, and participate with everybody. That's really, to me, if I were to end this right there, I would say it's make sure that you are setting the example. Because if you do that and you find the right people, they'll repeat that and make it even better. So I think that's an awesome place to stop.
All right, great. Thank you so much for giving us all this great information. Hopefully other employers will take it to heart and being able to attract their own amazing team. So thank you for joining me today.
Hey, Chelsea, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Chelsea.
Be sure to subscribe to KBB's YouTube channel and click the like button on our videos. You can also subscribe to the From the Tap podcasts on such apps as Apple, Spotify, Pandora, and Google Podcasts. And please feel free to leave a review.